Woohoo! We are live, and this is the Math 40 practice test for chapters 4 and 5. And since we're talking about practice tests, if I can find it, let's talk about Tell Me About Tests. Woohoo! Our handy dandy little reminder sheet here. Practice test. Is there a time limit? No, no time limit. Are there retakes? Absolutely, many times as you want. Can you bring a famous mathematician with you to take it? Can you ask your friends? Can you have a whole practice test party? Absolutely. All these things are available to you on a practice test. Now, the actual test, you will have 90 minutes. You will not have any retakes. And remember, the actual test is intended to be a test of whether or not you understood the material, not if your friends did, or if a famous mathematician did, or even a whole party. You're welcome to have a test-taking party, but while you're taking the actual test, it's expected that your book stays closed and no one else helps you. Okay, so let's get started. Again, I've copied down all the problems from the practice test and written them on this PDF, which you can print out. And so I encourage you to have paper. Now, during the actual test, there won't be the test to print out, but make sure you have paper on hand because a lot of these problems cannot be done in your head. Also, you are absolutely allowed to use a calculator. So keep a calculator nearby. Whack! Sorry about that. Muppet noises, if that helps. Support creatures as long as they don't actually give you the answer. And then, all the handy dandy highlighters just to keep your heart singing. Okay, let's get started. So, again, a reminder, sometimes Canvas is goofy, so these problems may appear in a different order on your actual test. The answers may also appear in a different order, but the problems themselves will be pretty close on the actual test, and on the practice test, they should be exactly like this, just possibly in a slightly different order. Okay, so first problem, substitution, because chapter 4 is all about systems of equations. So I'm actually telling you to use substitution. So first thing people will ask was, well, how do you know if we use substitution? And the answer is, I don't. I'm just recommending that this one you use substitution for because the problem has been set up to use substitution since that's the way the homework is given. Feel free to use elimination if you just love it. Okay, so I've got the first equation, 2x plus 4y equals -6. And then I notice that my second equation, and one thing here on the practice test, I have put in the brace. In Canvas, you will not see this brace because I have not been able to figure out how to convince Canvas to actually type that in for you. So you'll just see the two equations right next to each other, and you'll have to assume they're a system together. So I've got the first equation here, and then my second equation is written in terms of x. X equals 1 minus 2y. So it's set up for substitution. So in my first equation, I'm going to take where the x is, and I'm going to expand that. So if, say, this first equation is the blue equation, hopefully it's not too smeary. This is the blue equation. And if the second equation is our yellow equation, then I'm going to take the yellow equation and put it right inside the blue equation. So x equals 1 minus 2y. I'm going to put that right there, 1 minus 2y. So that's substitution. What you do is you substitute an expression in for one of the variables so that the resulting equation, see, we only have the one variable. We have it in two places, but it's just y. There are no x's running around here. Woohoo! So that was the first step. Okay, we substituted. Next up, let's simplify. I'm going to use the distributive property. I'm going to do it down below because we kind of ran out of room there. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times -2y is -4y. plus 4y equals -6. This is looking good. This is looking good. And then 2, oh no, plus 0 equals -6. Oh no. In this case, I've got 2 equals -6. Is that true? The answer is no, this is false. Notice how all the y's canceled out and we end up with an equation that is not true. If this happens to you, and I'm not saying that the first one is definitely going to be a no solution, but I am saying if you could see my face, I'd be winking at you and saying, I would expect a no solution problem on this test. So we've got the substitution problem, and we've also, next one is, oh, you can't see, the next one's going to be elimination. If I were you, I'd expect something interesting to happen on one of these problems, to be honest. But don't be panicked if it does. Don't panic. If you end up with all the variables disappear and you get 2 different answers, so we get a false, then the answer is no solution. Why is that? Well, the reason for that is basically what the algebra is trying to do, is trying to help you out. So I said, when is this true? And the algebra is like, well, this would be true if 2 were equal to -6. So if we were in that world, that universe, then we would have a solution to this. But since we're in the universe where 2 and -6 are not the same thing, they are not equal, we have no solution. So, and you'll notice that for both of these problems on the test, I will give you an option of no solution. Don't just choose it. Definitely be thoughtful about when you choose it. So could this first one actually have an answer on the actual test? Yes. Could some of you have an actual answer and some of you not? Yes. There are multiple versions of the test. Okay, that's number 1. Number 1 was done really easy. Woohoo! No checking when there's no solution. Woohoo! Okay. Oh, and for those of you, let's see, do I have him? Is he here? Where is Matt Damon? So if you were following along, I should have finished this. No solution means, oh, sadly, Matt Damon doesn't get back from Mars. Oh, sad Matt Damon. Okay. So, and if you have no idea what that is, you need to start watching my lectures. Okay, because they're cool and fun, and cool people watch my lectures. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I have, I need all my Matt Damon puppets. Okay. See, this is why we have a practice test, so you can get ready for the real test. So number 2, also 10 points. Use elimination to solve this system. And again, do you have to use elimination? No. Will I be able to check? No, because you're just going to give me the answers. So I don't know how you got to the answer. So you're welcome to use substitution. I'm just recommending elimination because I think it's easier in this case. And again, as I said with the first one, I have the brace written here, but on the practice test and on the real test, because Canvas is kind of wonky, I can't figure out how to put this brace in. Maybe I'm kind of wonky. That's probably it. Canvas is fine, and there's, something. I'm probably a warranty return, and nobody just thought to, contact the manufacturer. Okay, so with elimination, what we're trying to do is we're multiplying top and bottom. So top equation by one number, the bottom equation, possibly the same number, maybe different number, so that we can cancel out one of the variables. And we've got 2 variables, so you could either cancel out the A's or you could cancel out the B's. I'm going to cancel out the B's because they already have a plus and a minus. So they're already opposite sign, which is saving me some trouble. So I think 8 and 3. So 8 and 3, what is their least common multiple? And their least common multiple is 24. So I'm going to go for the B's, and I'm thinking of 24. So I'm going to multiply on top by 3 and on the bottom by 8. Okay, so top by 3, I get 15a plus 24b equals 21. And 8 on the bottom, 88a minus 24b equals, and here's where the calculator is going to come in handy. 8 times 36 is 288. Oh man, that's big. Okay. Notice that I didn't have to multiply by a negative because I had one that was positive, one that was negative. That's nice. Will it always be nice? Could it be different on the real test? Yes, there are going to be multiple versions on the real test, so be prepared. Practice these problems before you get to the test. Oh my goodness. Okay, 15a plus 88a is like 103 a's. The b's cancel out. And then over here, I've got 288 plus 21, which is, I think, 309. And then I divide both sides by 103 so that I can isolate the a. And I get a equals 3. Yay! Now, this particular problem is going to be given in terms of, instead of giving you just the A and the B together, you're going to have a drop down. So when you find what the A is, you're going to go in and find the specific A. And if there's no solution, you put no solution. But my specific A is 3. There we go. So A is 3. And then I have to find B. So you pick one of the two the two equations. I'm going to do 5A plus 8B equals 7. Ooh, I'm guessing B is going to be negative. 5 times 3 plus 8b is 7. 15 plus 8b is 7 minus 15 minus 15. 8b equals negative 8. Divide by 8. Woohoo, I'm on a roll. Let me slow down. I got excited, started doing math really fast. So what did I do? I plugged in the 3. Multiplied to get 15, subtracted 15 from both sides. Then I've got 8b, and I know it looks a little like 86. It's one of my weaknesses. My b's and my 6's look very similar. Sorry about that. I divide both sides by 8, and then I get b equals negative 1. Is that one of my options up here? B equals, yes. Ooh, look at that. They're right next to each other. Will that necessarily happen on the test? Not necessarily. Could, might not. And now here's the thing. Do you have to check? No, you don't have to check. There's nothing on this that will tell me whether you checked or not, because that's going to be on the paper you have. But if you check, you can potentially find mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug in the a equals 3 and the b equals negative 1 and see if that equals 36. So I get 33 plus 3. Oh yeah, that's 36. Woohoo. So if you do the check, it takes 1 or 2 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 if you're not really paying, if you're just kind of going slowly or you've got other things, distracting you. You're worried about poor Matt Damon, who, let's be honest, is very happy. Oh, he's all wrinkly too. It's a little human. There's happy Matt Damon. Yay! We're going to bring him home from Mars. Okay, so, but this takes just a few minutes and you can confirm that your answer is most likely right. So woohoo, 20 points down and 13 minutes in, and we're doing pretty well. Okay, now some weird problems. A math student asked you for some help with writing a number in scientific notation. On their paper, they have the following, and it's 38.845 times x to the negative 2. Is this correct? So is this incorrect scientific notation? Here's the thing. For the practice test, everyone has this same problem. For the actual test, there will be many different things. So it's possible that the form will be correct. And if it is, you say it's correct. This is not correct because of this. This is not correct scientific notation. And the reason for that is the scientific notation. And here, full disclosure, there are different versions, especially if you get into, you know, specific fields, biology, chemistry. They have different standards, different ways they like to do things. So math is just giving you the general flavor of scientific notation, but the flavor we're giving you looks like this. A single digit, and then a decimal point, and then other digits, and then a big X, and then a 10 to some exponent, right? So we want to have just a single digit here. So I've got 38.845 times 10 to the negative 2. How do I solve this? Well, there are a bunch of different ways to do it. The first thing is, once you know that this is not correct scientific notation, so that's not the correct answer. We know that that's not good. So we only have 3 other options. And in fact, we can see this is a trick, because this is not even scientific notation. There's no times 10 to the whatever. So we know that's not correct. And basically, you've got a 50-50, and you could just take a look at those two and kind of figure it out. But if it weren't a multiple choice question, what could you do? Well, there are a couple ways to do it. If you are fancy, you could move the decimal point just once, so it's right there. And if you can figure out what the exponent's supposed to be, you'd be done. I think what a lot of people find is a slightly easier way to do it, especially if you have trouble remembering. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, move it back into standard notation, and then put that back into scientific notation. It's a little bit extra work, but that way it's easier on my brain. Just be honest. And if you hate this and you have a different way to do it, you should definitely do it your other way. My brain is not the king of all brains, although wouldn't that be awesome? I've got 2 votes here to be king of all brains, but I'm kind of busy. So maybe next year I'll be king of all brains. Okay, so what this means in scientific notation is 10 to the negative 2 is very small. It's 1 over 100. It's tiny. So that means that this is supposed to be smaller. So I take the 38.845 and I move the decimal point 2 spaces, 1, 2. Right there. The 2 have to do with the 2 right there. And I make it a smaller number because it's negative, right? So negative means it's a small number, right? So this is standard notation, regular notation. And then I'm going to take it and put it into scientific notation. So how do I do that? Well, I take this and I move it 1 spot. So it's going to be 3.8845. Now, if you look up here, both of the answers have 3.8845, 3.8845. Okay, so we're on the right track. Times 10. And how many spaces did I move it? 1. And was it a big number or a small number? It's smaller than 1. It's a small one. So it's negative because it's a small number, right? Less than 1. And then let me look here. Notice that the 2 options are 10 to the negative 1 and 10 to the negative 3. Why is that? Because I figured you'd figure out that I have to move the decimal point in one place and you wouldn't know which way. So if we go through all this trouble, we could say, oh, okay, it's supposed to be this one, that one, woohoo. Okay, so let's move on. We're halfway done. I'm very excited. Are you very excited? 25 out of 50 points done. Woohoo. Okay, subtract the polynomials. Now, again, this is a smaller problem. I'm not expecting that this will take you very long, about 5 minutes. And you actually have a lot more than that to do this problem, but let me not just keep talking. Let's do it. I've got 6b squared. I'm not sure why I did this to myself because, you know, 6's and b's are not easy for me. But but if I'm ever going to learn this, I need to practice. Okay. So what are we going to do? Remember, this minus comes through as an opposite or as a -1. It depends on your perspective. But basically, this minus will affect everyone that comes after it. This first expression, this first polynomial, 6b squared, I am running out of ink. Oh no. Let's just knock everything down. I think that's a good idea. We just knock everything down and be like, haha, I'm doing math. Get out of my way. Minus 6b squared, minus a minus plus 8b, minus a minus plus 2. Okay. And then I'm noticing something interesting happens here. I've got 6b squared minus 6b squared. They cancel out. Okay, so I got no b squareds. I've got an 8b and an 8b. Now, this can be a little bit confusing because your brain's going to go, oh, they cancel out too. And be very careful here. They're both positive. So here, let me do this. I was going to skip this part, but I realized this is going to be a lot easier. So let me write them out. So these two cancel. But the b's do not. And then I've got minus 7 plus 2. Those are my constant terms. There we go. Okay, so the pink terms cancel out completely. Then I've got the 8b plus 8b, which is 16b. Minus 7 plus 2 is -5. 16b minus 5. Woohoo. These cancel. And let's look up here. Do I have a 16b minus 5? I do. Yay! Life is good. Woohoo! We are just getting through this, aren't we? I know. You guys all, if you've studied for this, you know what's coming. So we're totally going to ignore the fact that something is coming on the last page. And we're just going to keep doing these, happy little math problems. Okay, back to 10 points. Again, because I think this is going to take you more time. So let's take our time with this. This is multiplying out, and these are trinomials. So this is some serious stuff. I've got r squared minus r plus 3. That whole quantity times r squared minus 4r minus 3. Okay. So remember, you're going to have to break up one of them. I'll break up the first one. It doesn't matter which one you break up. You can break up either of them. You can be your own Yoko Ono. What? I didn't say that. You can tell that when something is hard because I stopped talking because I have to think about it. Writing things out like this when you have dyslexia or dyscalculia, I don't know how to pronounce it, never heard it pronounced out loud, is really difficult. Okay, so hopefully I didn't mistake any of them. Hopefully I've got them written out. We'll see, because the correct answer should be up there. And if it's not, then life is exciting. So a lot of people have a lot of different ways of doing this. You can set this up in a chart. So you have like a multiplication chart that looks like a square. I've seen people, there are all sorts of really cool ways to do this. So whatever way you do it, you do you. I'm going to do me. This is back, in the cave days, back in, 3000 BC. This is how we did it. And that's a lie. That's a lie. Algebra is a little bit more recent than that. Just a tad. I know, and all the historians are like, what? 4000 BC, we weren't in a cave. No, I was personally in a cave because I was just like, I'm going to go live in a cave, guys, and do algebra. And everyone's like, what's algebra? And I'm like, we'll just wait 3,000, 4,000 years and you'll know. So that's the whole story. Sorry, I was a little confusing. Everyone was not living in a cave back then. Okay, so the joke being that I'm very old. Okay, there we go. It's always funny when you have to explain it. So we got r squared multiplied through. So r squared times r squared minus r squared times 4r minus r squared times 3. Okay, here we go with the minus r's. Minus r times r squared minus a minus is plus r times 4r minus a minus is plus r times 3. And then I'm going to go on to the next line because I don't really have enough room here. Plus 3 times r squared minus 3 times 4r minus 3 times 3. Now, can you do these in your head? Absolutely. Can I do them in my head? Maybe, probably, don't know. R squared times r squared is r to the 4th minus 4r cubed minus 3r squared minus r cubed plus 4r squared plus 3r squared minus 12r minus 9. Oh my goodness. Okay, so a couple of things. What are the chances you've made a mistake? Pretty good. Pretty good. What are the chances I made a mistake? Pretty good too. So we'll find out. And hopefully if I did make a mistake, I find it before I publish this video and then confuse everyone. But there are a few things you can be sure of. The middle tends to get a little mushy. But the r squared times the r squared, the biggest, the highest exponent times the highest exponent is r to the 4th. I know there's an r to the 4th, even though I may not know what's going on in the middle. So when you've got a multiple choice test, you can, 2r squared, that's not it. That's not right. And then the last one, the plus 3 times the negative 3, that's the only time I get two constants multiplied times each other. So positive 3 times negative 3, that gives me the negative 9. So basically the first and the last I'm pretty sure of. I've got a negative 9, and as I look through, this one has a plus 9. I know that's not correct. So even though this is fraught with danger, and it's likely that a lot of people will make mistakes, you can always check the first and the last, and that will give you a way to count out a few of the options. So it'll raise your chances of getting it right, even if you have to do some guessing. Multiple choice tests are like that. Okay, I've got r to the 4th, and way at the end I've got minus 9, but let's see if I can connect some dots here. Okay, I've got a minus 4r cubed and a negative r cubed, and that's it. So minus 4r cubed minus r cubed. That's my r cubeds. Okay. And then r squareds, I've got a negative 3r squared and a plus 4r squared. Oh, and another 3r squared. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. So negative 3r squared plus 4r squared plus 3r squared. Okay. And then here I've got a 3r and a minus 12r. So plus 3r minus 12r. Those are my green ones. Okay. So let's see what we got going on. I got an r to the 4th. Altogether, minus 4, negative 4, minus 1, negative 5. Got negative 5 r cubes. And then I've got negative 3 plus 4 plus 3. These two cancel out. So I just get plus 4r squared. Positive 3r minus 12r is negative 9r, and then minus 9. So let me quickly color these in so that they're easier to follow, I hope. And then let's go back up here. Let's see, can you see both? Yes. Okay, I'm looking for negative 5r cubed. Negative 5r cubed plus 5r cubed, negative 5r cubed. Okay, so it's one of these two. And then I've got plus 4r squared plus 4r squared minus 4r squared. That's not it. I got it. Let me check the rest of them. Plus 4r squared minus 9r minus 9. We're good. Woohoo. You guys are awesome. So you may want to pause the video right now. I'm going to just go ahead because it's easier if this is one video rather than multiple videos. However, you may want to take a break, get some hydration, get some snacks because dun dun dun. The next one is a word problem. It's a mixture problem. This will be the last one on the test. It will be a mixture problem. It will be nuts, in fact. It'll look exactly like this, but have slightly different numbers. Okay, so go ahead, go get a snack and something to eat. We'll do a little dance. Okay, are you back? Woohoo. Go ahead and pause the video if you're not quite ready. Okay, good. Let's get going. So how do I know this is a mixture problem? Well, first off, you know because I just told you it's a mixture problem. A merchant wants to mix peanuts. There you go. It's a mixture problem, which sell for $3 per pound, with cashews, which sell for $12 per pound to get 51 pounds of mixed nuts that will be sold for $6 per pound. How many pounds of each should the merchant use? So some of you are very good at doing these without a chart. That is absolutely fine. I'm going to set up a chart because that's what I did in the videos, in the lectures. It may be a little too short. What? I think short things are awesome, don't you? Short things are probably the best things. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I don't know why I'm saying that. As far as you know, I'm, 6.5 feet tall. I could totally be 6.5 feet tall. So I got my mixture set up. I'm going to have my peanuts and my cashews. And I've got my mixture. So the two things I'm mixing and then my mixture. My first column is going to be my total amount. Double check. There are no variables specified, so I can use whatever I like. I think a lot of people, very common to do X and Y, so I'm going to do X and Y, but if you want to do P and C, that's awesome too. For the mixture, do we know how much of the mixture? And the answer is yes. I want to obtain 51 pounds of mixed nuts. So here for my mixture, I've got 51 pounds. Remember, pounds are shortened by LBS. Okay, in this problem, we're talking about price. So let's work out the prices. So the price of the peanuts are $3 per pound. The pounds here and the pound here have to agree. They do, thankfully. And cashews, much more expensive, $12 per pound. And then the entire mixture should be $6 per pound. Let's see if I don't run out of colors. There we go. There are the peanuts. Here are the cashews. And then let's see. The mixture will be $6 per pound. Okay. Now in the lecture, we talked about setting up a, I'll put it up here. If I've got $3 per pound here, and if I've got $12 per pound here, what is halfway? And halfway would be 3 plus 12 is 15. Half of that is 7.5. Okay. My resulting mixture, I want to be at 6. So that's closer to the peanut side than the cashews. So I am expecting more. I don't know what that letter is either. Let's try that again. I am expecting more peanuts, fewer cashews. Okay. So in this one, I'm going to multiply the total amount times the price and get the cost. So X times $3 per pound is 3X. Y times $12 per pound is 12Y. 51 pounds at $6 per pound is, I think, 306. I hope. And then I will remind you that there are 2 places we can go for equations. From the first column, I get X plus Y equals 51. And then from the last column, I'm going to get 3X plus 12Y equals 306. And as with most of these, because I started out with an X plus Y, I can easily get rid of X's or Y's, or if you really want to, you can use substitution. I'm going to use elimination. I'm going to multiply by -3 on top and get -3X minus 3Y equals -153. And then 3X plus 12Y equals 306. Okay, we're getting there. 9Y equals 153. That's interesting. There's something interesting happening here. Divide both sides by 9. Y equals 17. Yay, it worked out, 17. Now, what was Y? Y was the cashews. Okay. Honestly, if it's multiple choice, there are 3 possible answers. There are 17 pounds of cashews. Sorry, you can't quite see that. And there's this answer that has 17 pounds of cashews. It's the only one. However, let me go back and just check. X plus Y equals 51. So I get X plus 17 equals 51. Subtract 17. X equals 34. And that's what it says here, 34 pounds of peanuts, because X is the pounds of peanuts. So this is the correct answer. Now, could you still check it? Absolutely. Let's do a little check. I've got the second equation. 3X plus 12Y equals 306. So I get 3 times 34 plus 12 times 17. Does that equal 306? Let me check on my calculator. 3 times 34 is 102. 12 times 17 is 204. And that equals 306. Woohoo. So we did it. We did it. You made it. You survived. This is the quote unquote hard problem on the test, the word problem, but it should be hopefully fairly straightforward if you've practiced with the problems in the class. And that's it. Remember that on the actual test, there will be an extra credit problem. Don't forget to answer that. And if you have any questions, make sure you ask me before you start the test. You guys are awesome. We made it. Dance party. Woohoo. Woohoo. Math on. Woohoo. And have a great day. Remember to get some exercise and eat some green vegetables and all that stuff.